Welcome to Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, and we are joined today by Gloria Negrete McLeod. Now, Ms. McLeod attended Chaffey Community College. She's an alumna of that institution. She later became an elected school board member of that district, then went on to the state assembly, the state senate. She served in the U.S. Congress, chose not to run for re-election to the U.S. Congress, and now she came home. And she ran for the Chaffey Community College District, and she recently won. And we congratulate you.
Thank you.
It's a homecoming.
Well, it's a homecoming, and I'm so humbled by the fact that the voters thought that I should continue my public service.
In the district, that's where you got your start.
And I think I said at an earlier time that I've served every single city in that district
Truly.
at one time or another.
In some seat, be it the Assembly, the Senate, Congress. But what was the reason why you ran again? What was the deciding factor? I mean, you had a wonderful career. One could argue that you could have just decided not to run for office anymore. You have grandchildren, you have great-grandchildren, I think. You could have just, stayed home, but you just know you wanted to give and you wanted to be part of the public conversation.
I think it is such a wonderful opportunity to serve the public as a public servant. Anybody, as I've said before, anybody that gets elected does a public service,
Right.
and it's just a wonderful experience.
So talk to me about what your hopes and dreams are for this new round of service to Chaffey Community College District, which essentially serves Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana, and
Upland, Ontario, Montclair, Chino Hills.
So these are some really exciting, beautiful, growing communities.
Well, probably Rancho and Fontana are the two largest, and Ontario are
Right.
the two largest growing cities.
And when we think about Ontario, with the airport coming back to local control, Rancho Cucamonga, that Victoria Gardens, forget it, I could live there. It's so beautiful. But I got to think that the community is growing generally, and so student populations will grow. And
The funny part of it is the student body really hasn't grown that much,
Interesting.
but we have to ensure that they get the best services that they possibly can.
So tell me what your hopes and dreams are now for this tenure. Do you have different goals now than when you won the first time in
95.
No, okay, so 20 years later, what's the difference?
I don't know that there's any difference. The board has been a pretty good board.
Right.
And now we have a little mix-up. We have a couple, myself and another person.
And I want to digress for a second because I think it's important that we do talk about what happened. So there were 3 seats up. There were 3 incumbents running, but Gloria Negrete McLeod, who was well known in the area, ran, as well as Gary Ovitt, who had come off of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors voluntarily.
That's correct.
So the 2 of you ran and won, and then one of the incumbents won and 2 incumbents lost. So this is a different board.
This is a different board by and large, but I served with one of the older board members, and the 2 board members that are on there came in after I
Okay.
did. But I know everyone
course you
on the
do.
board.
So I keep going back to this. So what do you hope to do?
Well, I hope that we continue the progress that Chaffey has always done. That is to maintain a good academic source. In addition to offering vocational classes, that has been my thing
Right.
about the vocational classes. And I want to work with the K through 12 to ensure that those schools ready the students
Right.
when they go to community college or the university.
Let's talk about vocational ed, because it's hard to deny that during the recession, there was a lot of focus on the community colleges because they became severely impacted, and the California Community College Foundation up in Sacramento decided to try to refocus its efforts on matriculation to 4-year institutions, some focus on vocational ed, but it felt like matriculation was the most important. Do you feel as if we've come back to the
Well,
vocational
I
ed side?
I think what the legislature wanted to make sure that when students went to a community college, that all community colleges were in line for the classes, so that you could matriculate so that you could transfer from
Right.
one college to another. But when you matriculated to the UC or the CSU, that those classes were in line with what they were what they needed to make sure that they didn't have to redo things.
Right. We also know when we look at K-12 that although we do see superior funding for K-12 now than when you were in the state legislature, that's undeniable, these are still difficult times. We're shifting to Common Core. We know the recent results from the Common Core tests were not very promising. And we know that community colleges are so often engaging in remedial education. And that's what you're talking about. You want K-12 to be ready to get to community college, but yet they're not.
Do you work with your children on homework?
I do.
Well, I've been working with my grandchildren, and the Common Core, I can say, I can get to that place,
Right.
ABC. But they don't want you to do that. They want you to do a whole
It's A to K, and then back to B,
Yeah.
and then back to J,
So
and
you're
then
going
back
like,
to C.
okay, I can tell you how to get
Right.
here, but it's not what the Common Core
Right.
curricula wants.
So what do community college leaders do in the face of this new pedagogy?
I don't know. I think we just work with the K through 12. How do we help you, and how can you help us? How do we make sure that all of the students in my district, in the district of community college, got to stop saying that,
Yes,
in the community
right.
college
Sure, sure.
district, work together so that there is a seamless track rather than hodgepodge and they don't go.
When I think about the areas in which you serve, Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga, there are some fine four-year institutions within the midst.
Absolutely.
You got CSUSB, you got UCR, you got some private.
Cal
Poly, of course.
And then we've got a lot of community colleges. We have
Right.
Citrus, we have Chaffey, we have Valley,
Right.
we have Riverside,
So-
and we have Riverside University.
Right. So are you looking to have programs in place that will guarantee admission to some of these institutions? For example, in Long Beach, there's a seamless transition from Long Beach City to Cal State Long
Well,
Beach.
perhaps we'll look at that and see how do we do that. I can't come in and say, this is
I
what
know,
we're going to
of
do.
course, Of course.
So, have to work with the board, make sure this is what we want to do, make sure that the students are ready, if they're going to go to the university or to the CSU.
I want to ask about the types of degrees that community colleges offer. As you know, currently you can get an AA when you are a graduate of a community college in
correct.
California. Over 20 states have programs whereby a community college student can get a bachelor's degree. One of your former colleagues, Marty Block, from San Diego in the state Senate, worked mightily to get SB 850 passed. It's a number, but be that as it may. And you were there, I think, when it passed.
No.
Or you had already left.
I already had left.
And what that bill does is it allows 14 community college districts to offer degrees that will bring a bachelor at the end. At this point, Chaffey, I don't think is participating.
No.
Crafton Hills nearby is participating. There's a few nearby, Cypress, Foothill, but be that as it may. This is a pilot program, only 15 participating. As you look down the road, are you hoping that Chaffey can be an institution that will offer a bachelor's?
I think we'll have to see what the results are, and if in fact it is feasible that we will do that, then perhaps we shall. The CSU and the UC system really fought that.
They did. They
Yes.
did. And what we also know is one of the requirements that the UC and CSU gave to the legislature is we don't want any duplicative majors.
And I don't blame them. That should be the case. However,
Please, go.
However, let's say there's a nursing program at one of the universities, and Chaffey can offer it, and we can get more students in there because the healthcare industry
Right.
is going to be the up and growing workforce.
Right.
So if we can do that, I don't see why not.
Especially if it's impacted, if nursing's impacted. Or what about if let's say CSU Chico offers a major, but it's the only place offers a major,
Well,
why
then-
shouldn't Chaffey be able to offer it? CSU Chico
Then
is-
it should probably be done regionally,
Right,
so that people
geographically.
can go.
Okay, I want to congratulate you again
Well, thank
on
you.
your victory. She is now a member of the Chaffey Community College District, which serves significant portions of San Bernardino County. My name is Brad Pomerance. I want to thank you so much for joining us on Charter Local Edition.